In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the new direction smart bait boat, from setting up the basics and then moving into the app and get a bit more fine-tuned with finding your spots. So starting off with the basics, of course you've got your bait boat in the package and the controller, which we'll move on to a bit more in depth in a second, so you can see it's quite unique looking. It's not as big and cumbersome as you'd expect with a bait boat. Start with the battery pack. So it slots down into the middle of the bait boat, it keeps all the centre of gravity nice, and also then you put the cover over the top with a rubber seal, and that's all clamped down in place by the handle, which you then put 2 Allen key screws down into here, and that secures the handle itself and also stops that battery compartment with any risk of that coming out. So fully watertight system, which is quite a key point that you want with your bait boat. Moving on to the front, we've got 2 headlights either side. These can be controlled to be on or off through the controller or the app. And on the back, if I spin it around, you've got 2 little red LEDs, which are your, well, so you can see when it's driving away from you. These also, if you're turning left, the left one comes on, and right, the right one comes on. So if there's a lot of boat traffic, you can indicate quite nicely on the lake. Whilst we're around the back, you've also got a hook release. So this is a little pin that's just inside there. You can't really see it. You put your hook through there, and then if you want to just drop your rig, no bait or whatever, or if you want to put the bait in here and your rig here, you can drop that separately to all the baits. If you want to make a baited spot maybe and drop the rig a few feet away from it, you can do that without dropping it all in one. Talking of the bait hoppers, if I flip it upside down or onto its side, you can see there's 2 hoppers there. So nice and simple, you put your bait in there. You can also put your rigs in there if you want and drop it like so. So if I just turn it on, quite a big obvious button here. Here it will turn on. And that's everything sorted. And then press and hold the on button on the remote. There we are, fully synced up. So talking about the remote, bit unique in the fact that it's so small, and it's ideal for, you don't have to have the big cumbersome controller. It takes up less space for a start and also allows you to be one-handed. So lowering this down in and picking it back up, you've got one hand always free. That one joystick is all you need. Left, right, forward, back, completely controls it. You've also got several different aspects on here. You've got the home and hook release. If I press and hold the top left button, as you just heard, the hook release came out. So that's when you just want to drop the rig on the back there. And then A and B, the 2 middle buttons, are your right hopper. That's the left. And the other one, B, to show you again, press and hold. There's your 2 hoppers. So you've got those buttons to control the hook release and the 2 hoppers. And the A, B, C and D also relates to saving points out in the lake. So we'll get onto that when we actually go and use it in a second, but that is the basics. If I just turn back around facing the camera so you can see the front, if I press and hold the, if I just tap the on and off button, sorry, you can then see it turns on the headlights and the rear lights as well, and you can turn that back off. So that is everything basics with this bait boat and remote control system. So let's take it over to the water, put it in and show you how it all responds, how easy it is just to get the basics dialed in. Remember, if you like this sort of content, then make sure you subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss any future uploads, and also follow us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter for regular updates. So we're now by the water, so it's time to put this to the test and actually test the basics, how it controls, and set it up over here. So once again, turn it on, let it do its little beeps, turn it on here, all synced up. Now, as I was saying, with the fact that the controller is one-handed, it leaves this hand free all the time to put the boat in. So if I lift it, drop it down, water level's down a little bit, so a little drop is fine. We're now sorted. Nearly lost my balance, but we're now sorted. So once that is sucked in a bit of water, all the motors are now working and we're off. So if we turn around, get a close-up of the remote and show you exactly how this responds. So we're now in the water, as you can see. I'll show you the basics of the controls. So the joystick, single joystick, no need for two different sticks that you get on your more conventional bigger remotes, because you can do everything the same on here. So right is right, and as you can just see, the right LED was flashing, telling me that I'm turning right, and vice versa. If I go forward a little bit so you can see it, left will turn on the left LED as I'm turning. Turns on the spot, so it's very agile. And you can also sort of go in between, so you can do more of a sweeping turn. Forward, forwards, and back. It's back, of course. If I turn it back to face the camera, I can turn the lights on with a press of the on-off button, and there you go. So you got the front. Where am I going? I will get used to this. And rear lights. The rear lights stay on constantly, so this makes them much more easy at night when you've taken your rig out. Of course, when you turn right or left, it turns off the opposite LED, so you still know which direction you're going. Now when it comes to the hoppers, the middle one on the left is one of the hoppers. That's now opened. Little beep on the remote and you hear the clink on the bait boat itself. And B, that's now the right hand side hopper. You've also got the home and hook points. So if we press that one, hear another little beep and a clink. That was the hook release. So that's your three main things that you need to know. Once you've got your rig or your bait into position, you can release a hopper to release the bait, release the hook to release that in a different position if you want, or like I said, you can put everything in one hopper and release it all in one position. Now you may also be able to see that at the moment A is lit up on the remote and home is lit up on the remote. Now you can sync this up with the app, which we'll do in a second, and what this is in relation to is sort of mapping out points that you want the bait boat to remember. So say I found a point out there, I want to save that as point A, where I want my rig to go each time. So each time you want to rebait your rod, put it back out, you press point A, it will take it out there for you, and then you've just got to release the hopper or the hook. So it drops exactly where you want. You don't have to do it by eye, and that's going to come into its own at night when you can't see so much where you are, other than where the lights, of course. You can get it perfect, and that's accurate to within 60 centimeters every time. So let's bring the boat back, get everything tucked back in, put some rigs in there, and also show you the app features that you can use to sort out your different points. Okay, so as you can see, I've now got the app up on my phone, and it's all synced up to the boat itself. If I just take it a bit away from the margin to start with, and then if I go on the three dots at the top, on the left you'll see calibrate compass. If I press that, operate success. It's now doing this for me. This just improves the accuracy. It's good practice to do this each time. That way you know that you'll get as accurate as possible each time this boat takes itself out. It only takes a few seconds. Now just off camera you can see this thing is doing donuts, and that's just calibrating the compass. That makes sure it knows exactly where it is in the world, on the lake, and make sure it's just, like I said, all the more accurate. That's now calibrated, so quick as that. Now I'm going to drive the boat out to just down the margin. Say I found a spot, so I'll just take it down there, using the remote control still of the actual bait boat one. Just taking it down the margin. You can see it's moving on the app. Talk amongst yourselves. And say I found a nice spot down the margin, just about here, I'd say. So say I'm happy with that spot, just pop the remote control down, I press this button, go on to B and save. That's now saved point B. If I move down on the map, you can now see that's saved on the app. So I'll bring it back. I can press the home button, which I'm going to do now. I can do that either on the app or the controller. If I press home, it's now going to turn itself around. It's doing that all by itself. I can put the remote control down. You can see I'm not touching anything, and it's bringing the boat back for me. So I've now saved that spot. It'll bring itself all the way back. So there we go. The boat has now returned to me. It's just in the margin. At this point, I can then lift the boat back out, put my bait in there, put my rig in the hopper that I decide and want to use, put it back in the water, and we're good to go. And at that point, I just go on to here, where I go to here. As you can see, my save points are still on there. So if I click on B, hit autopilot. Again, I'm not using the remote. I didn't even need to pick that back up. It's now taking it back out to that spot that I've already saved as point B. You can save up to 4 points on any group, that is, sorry. So as you can see on the screen, point A, where we did a test earlier, is still saved on there. Point B is following that line back out to the point. So I just wait for it to reach the point down there. Once it gets to the location, obviously the boat will stop. It will notify me on the app, and I can then either control the hoppers with the remote or still on the app, just here. So it's nearly there. There, it's now arrived. So I'll click on this button, choose the hopper, and I've just opened it. Say I wanted to drop 2 hoppers worth of bait if I wanted, hopper 2 as well, and also the hook, all of which I've now just done completely without having to touch the controller. It's done that by myself, so I've been able to concentrate on the line lay. If I now press home, oh, wrong button, sorry. If I press home, operate success, it's now returned to home. So I can now put everything down, got nothing in my hands other than my rod, so I can be sorting that out, putting the hangers on, making sure that my line lay is perfect. Weather like this, where it's a bit blowy, you want to make sure your line lay is perfect. If you're having to control the boat at the same time, it's going to be a bit more of an issue. As you see, I'm still not controlling anything right now, and the boat is coming back towards me. So that's going to make a lot easier. As I said, line lay saves you time. By the time you've got your rod sorted and on the rest, and the boat arrives back to you, you can pick it up and then get ready to do your next rod. So it just takes the effort out of using a bait boat. So that's all the basics of setting this thing up and the app. I'm now going to put all of this into a fishing situation. I've never actually used this before until today, so this shows just how easy it is to get to grips with it straight away on your first trip out and actually use it in a fishing situation. So everything's off again. I'm going to start by turning it all back on. Bait boat on, controller on, all connected. Pop that into the water. Now I'm going to set up the app as well. So ND Smart Bait Boat. Turning this on, it's found me, it's found the boat. It's beeping to let me know that it's syncing up with the phone. All done. Take it out slightly. Now one thing to note is you do need to make sure that once it's in the water, do the motors a couple of times so as to get the water through all the motors, and then we're all good to go. Take it out slightly. I'm now going to do the recalibration. It's a good habit to get into. Make sure it's nice and accurate as possible. So let that do that for a second. There we go, all calibrated. So I'm now going to take this out to where I think is a likely looking spot for now, just for the purposes of showing this. I'm going to put it out under that tree on the island. Just looking down at my phone screen, I can see that it's tracking the boat going across the lake. So it's definitely tracking the boat and where I'm going. Oh, I'm not tracking it myself. Let's look back at where I'm going with the boat. And straighten back up. So I'm getting close to where I want to be now. Pick up the phone. I want to take it just under that tree. And pretty much there. So I now go into here, go on to point C and save. I've now saved that point. It's still remembered my home point, so I'm now going to press home. By itself, it's coming back. So I'm going to get the rig all nice and sorted, ready to put some bait in the hoppers, hook the hook onto the rear, and then we're good to go. Here it comes. As I said, since I put the controller down, I haven't touched it, and it's come all the way back to me. It's now beeping to tell me that it's arrived. The water level's down a little bit, so I'll reach down. And up we go. So I'm going to fill the hoppers with some bait. This is Luke's bait, so I can use as much as I like and not feel guilty about it. There we go. Now turn it round and I'll attach the hook onto the rear. So I've now just hooked the hook onto the hook release. Put the boat back down. Take it out ever so slightly. Make sure the bail arm is released. Now if I press C on the remote, I could do that on the app as well. It's now going to take it out to the point that I've already set on the app by itself. And where I'm not having to use the controller or the app at all, I can completely focus on making sure I get a nice line layout to the spot. Just keeping the line under ever so slight tension. So as you can see, the boat is pretty much getting to the place I want it now. I'm going to pick up the controller. I could use the app as well if I wanted. It should beep when it gets there. There we go. So it's now on my spot. If I press and hold the hook button, that's my rig now dropped. And then hopper A, hopper B, that's all the bait is now dropped. And then I can press home and it starts bringing itself back for me. While it's doing that, I can then sort out my line lay, get everything sorted. But we're only using this for the purposes of filming today. Bait boats are actually banned on here, and I got the fishery owner right behind me, so this rod's coming straight back in. So there we go. With the time that that's taken to come back, I would have sorted out my line lay, put on any back leads if I wanted, sorted out the hanger and the alarm and everything, and it's bringing itself back for me. I can now pick it up and take over and do it fully manually if I wanted, but there's no point. If it's doing it for me, then there's no point in doing that. I could then get another rod ready, get the point or the location that I've already set on the app ready, put the bait in, hook in again, and out we go. So it's nice and quick. You don't have to fumble around doing all this by yourself. You can use your time more efficiently, get everything else ready. So that's the New Direction Smart Bait Boat in a nutshell. Now, we used it on a very small lake today. This can actually go up to around the 300-metre mark, and they've actually tested it up to 700 metres. So that shows how strong the transmission is. Of course, you're never going to be fishing at those sort of ranges. I mean, you'll be hard pressed to find a reel that even holds that amount of line, but that shows how strong the transmission is. But all the basics, from setting it up to the controller, the app, how to use it, so you can have it as simple as just putting your rig in there and using it all manually, dropping it where you want, and going that to the more fine-tuned of finding spots, saving spots, and all of that. So that's everything you can do with the bait boat on in a nutshell. But there's also some more. But wait, there's more. So inside this is a Deeper Chirp, basically. So you can actually use this as a sonar as well, and that's all in conjunction. So you can go out, find spots, say you find a little carpy hole on the Deeper, you then save that spot on the app and go out on that. But that's going to be a standalone video. So if you click a link in the description below for the Deeper side of this, then that will tell you a bit more. But that's everything for now. So for more information on everything that this has to offer, all the specs and things, go over to the New Direction website. But that's it for now. Make sure you do subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss any future uploads, and follow us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter for regular updates. See you again.